This is how we've been getting in the market. Yeah, it's a party. Hi. So I've been telling people like, hey,
Good morning.
this is real stuff. This is what I started with. This is what I'm at for my finances. And then folks are like, oh man, that's great. I just, only have like $100 or 500. Dude, that's enough. Get started. Like, don't try to meet some magical financial number to get started because you'll always go and spend that money on something else and use that as an excuse of, oh, I need at least 2,000 to start. But you'll ensure that you never put that 2,000 to that purpose. You have to start dedicating money to it for you to start wanting to dedicate more money to it.
Yeah, you're right. Well, we are live. Good morning, everybody. Today we are gonna go over estate planning. So, you just heard the soothing sounds of Ramza, um, giving his just due. And what he was talking about is that we don't just do this for fun. We don't do this like Cat Williams. I don't do this for fun. No, we don't do this for fun. Now we do have fun with it because why wouldn't you, right? But yeah, we're making real gains in the market. We're making real gains. We're making real connections, networking, all of that. That's what this is. This Discord is a tool, a networking tool. It's more than just a social media platform, right? But if that's all you see it as, that's all you'll use it as, right? There really ain't no juicy gossip in here. Like we talk about business ventures, business news. Xavier talks about real estate in the Dominican Republic. And if you're networking with him, you probably get in on that. We talked about investing in Boxable. We talked about a private company. And none of us in here, to my knowledge, most of us, 90 something percent of us are not accredited investors because I don't have $1 million net worth yet. And I am not earning $200,000 a year yet. Well, I would have to be 300,000 because I's married, right? So, yeah. So we share knowledge on this platform on this channel, and it's all in an effort to get better and to have some gains. Um, uh, anyway, we're gonna talk about estate planning now. The biggest news, right? We had a 2 week lapse in the show, and that was because my dear old mother was in the hospital in San Antonio. She was at the VA hospital, and I missed the show because I was flying out. I flew out on Saturday, actually. Yeah, I flew out on Saturday, so I missed the show. And then I got stuck in Dallas Fort Worth for a night because there was weather when I flew out of San Diego. And there was weather. We got delayed on the ground in San Diego for weather in Dallas Fort Worth. That delay made us miss our flight in Dallas, but then when we got there, we found out that they pushed the flight back. They delayed it. And then they canceled all the rest of the flights because the weather around Dallas Fort Worth was so terrible. So now I'm looking for a hotel for like 2 hours, and everything's packed out. Anyway, so I get to San Antonio the next morning. Wow, wow, wow! I didn't know you could do that. I need me a soundboard on here. I need me a soundboard. It's going down. And I'm gonna get me a soundboard of a dude like a blacksmith hammering some metal. I'm gonna have all kinds of stuff on here. I need to get cracking. Um, Wait, you didn't either. You didn't know we could do that either. But the option said soundboard. What option? Where's the soundboard? All right. Anyway, so I got to San Antonio. So I missed the show because I flew out on Saturday. And I put it in the Discord so all of y'all knew. Now, YouTube didn't know. But if you're only watching from YouTube, I put the Discord link into the every week when I upload the video. It's in the description. So you can join Discord as well. It'd be to your advantage, I believe. Now, I might be a little biased in that, but I try to be objective. This would help you. Anyway, so she ended up passing away on the 23rd, and I was able to be there when it happened. And so I came back on Friday night, not yesterday, but the week prior. But I didn't fly in until like midnight. I didn't get home until after close, probably one something. And then one of the kids was here. He's 18. Him and his girlfriend were here. We probably talked until like two something. Went to bed, and then I missed the show last week. But we're back. We are back now. Before we get into today's topic, let me see what he's talking about with this. Oh, on the phone. All right. Swipe up from the bottom and these options appear. Let me see what we're talking about here, because I need to swipe up from the bottom. It's not working for me. Are you on the live on your phone? All right. Well, I'll figure this out later. I'm gonna have this figured out by next show. Don't y'all even worry. Soundboard, share your screen. Yeah, I think I would have to go into the live on my phone, and you know what? I did that before, and it like stopped the live. So I'm gonna just. I think it's because I was tapped in from two different. Yeah, I would have to be in the live on my phone, and it would mess me up. But hey, feel free to use the soundboard. I trust y'all too. Feel free to use the soundboard during the live if you would like. So we're going to go over estate planning today, because I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people end up passing away, and they don't have everything in order that they need to have in order for the surviving family members to not have to jump through hoops, go into debt, or not be playing American Gladiator, right? And so our dad passed away 4 years ago, and so we just now it was just our mom. And all right, to get right into this, you see the screen, you see what's up. All right, so first of all, what is an estate? An estate is pretty much, I like definitions. Hold on. I should have done this first, because I usually start with the definition. An estate is everything a person owns, excluding assets in a trust at the time of death, including money, real estate, collections, tools, appliances, jewelry. So it's everything you own, right? At the time of death, it's everything you own. I always put the definitions start with here. I done got ahead of myself. So I'm sorry. I gotta go over this. So I came to the desk today to start working, and my wife is going to school right now. And I saw on her notebook, she had this quote, and I was like, what is this? And so I read it, and I pulled it up here. It's Ben Franklin, but she didn't have its source to it was. And the quote is, tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. And I loved it. And so I said, I'm going to go over this today, because this is everything I do on this show. This is everything we do in this Discord, right? So I tell you, you forget, but I teach you on Saturdays, right? And you remember, because I know people take notes, right? But through this Discord throughout the whole week, everybody's involved. Everybody's posting articles. Everybody's saying, hey, this company just did this. Hey, this might be a good buy because of this. Hey, I wouldn't invest in this right now. That is the real key. That community piece is the involving of everybody. And that community piece is how everybody learns together and how we all make it together. So let's go back to an estate. So now we know what an estate is, everything you pretty much own. I love Investopedia, so I'm going to go here. I got to click this one. An estate is everything compromising the net worth of an individual, including all land, real estate possessions, financial securities, cash, and other assets that the individual owns and has a controlling interest in. Get off my screen, you ad. Estate planning is crucial for asset transfer to beneficiaries after death and for minimizing taxes. See, that's a piece of it too. Part of the estate planning is drawing up a will, which is a legal strategy for managing estate distribution and appointing executors. If you're not familiar with any of these terms, Investopedia is one of the best sites I've seen that will break down all of these terms. The importance of estate planning is particularly relevant if the individual declares bankruptcy or if an individual dies. And we'll stop it right there because we'll go to the steps. So pretty much how this works is you have to plan for the end. Let's just say that. So one of the subjects I've covered multiple times. Welcome. I see somebody else jumped in. One of the subjects I've covered multiple times on here is I lost my train of thought because I said welcome. Oh, IRAs. How to utilize your IRA. Now, I've covered this multiple times because it is that important. I finished The Millionaire Next Door, maybe, shut it, in the comments. I saw that. He's old. He is not old. Get a look at this. There's no wisdom on this face because I shaved it off. So anyway, I finished The Millionaire Next Door a month and a half ago maybe. And one of the biggest takeaways I found, and that book was written in the halfway through the 90s, right? And it's still true today. Most people who become millionaires in America do it through their IRAs, right? They do it through their IRAs and they do it now. Then it was about 59. So it might be a little younger now, or it might not, because more people are catching on to financial literacy, which is great. I didn't really start getting that spun up and being financially literate until I was about 34. But I'd already bought a home. I'd already had a 830 credit score with every bureau. I'd already fixed my own life when it came to credit. But I didn't become financially awakened, so to speak, with literacy and everything until I was about 34. I didn't start investing in the stock market until I was 34. So was I 33? 33? Invest in the stock market? I think I was 33. Yeah. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. So in my opinion, that's late. That's late. I was late to the party. So I am running a race where I am trying to catch up in my stock portfolio for where my IRA should have been. You know what I mean? So that is one of the first parts of estate planning, is you living your life and doing the right stuff, so that when the end is starting to be talked about, when it's on the horizon, when it's in your face, everything's already in order. And that means not having debt yourself, because if you have debt and I'm talking about when you total up all your assets and you total up all your debt is not even this above your assets, right? Because that is going to leave your children, your spouse, and whomever else in your family that would have a vested interest in your things. Because let's be real, we don't look, while we're alive and having fun, we don't look at each other as, I want that Mercedes when you're gone. That's not what we do, but we know you being gone is it's in the back of our minds all the time, right? We don't know how much time is left on our clocks. And so if you pass away, you want to have your affairs in order. That is why we're talking about estate planning, because I will tell you, most people don't have a will. Most people who have a will don't have a trust. Most people don't have either one of them, and they don't even know what the difference between a will, they don't even know about a trust, right? You don't know what you don't know, and most people don't know that a trust even exists. And what is a trust? Let's put this screen up here. Let's minimize me. Y'all have seen my face enough. Most people don't even know what I'm talking about, and it's bad, but we can turn that around. We can turn that around. We have to start making intelligence sexy again. We have to start making, financial literacy sexy again. I don't know if it ever even was, but we've got to do this, because listen, when this will never be realer than when it's in your face and it's in your family. And now you have to deal with it. All right. So we already talked about what an estate is. Now, one of the first things you want to do for an estate is you want to talk to your family about it. The end, right? When I was talking about the IRAs and I covered that subject, one of the things I always ask people is, what age do you want to retire? And the next age, because you need that for the calculator, right? It's going to ask you at what age you want to no longer work. That's what retirement is. And the next question, which blows them away, is how long do you plan on living till? What is your life expectancy? And, for some people, what they plan on is not what they get, right? And so that makes them, the first time I ask them that, they tell me no one's ever asked me that before. Well, have you ever thought about it before? I have never thought about it before. See, because we just live every day. We don't think about the end. But the first step is you actually want to start talking to your family about it. They're never too young, unless obviously they're an infant and can't understand English and conceptualize stuff. I'm not talking about that young, but I mean like 8 years old, start talking to them about it. Start talking to them about it. Why not? Start talking to your spouse. Start talking to if you're older and you have sons, daughters, you have nieces, nephews, you have brothers, sisters. Start talking to them about it. Listen, if I were to pass away today, this is what my will would say. Are y'all cool with that? If they're adults, like, hey, would you want my house? Hey, would you want my land? Hey, would you want my car? Hey, would you want my stock portfolio? And they're, man, don't nobody want to talk about you dying. And that's where it starts. You have to nip that in the bud right there. I am not telling you that I am about to delete myself. I am not telling you that I want to pass away. But this is a conversation that we have to have. So let's be mature here, right? Let's stop that kind of stuff, because we always think that talking about it jinxes somebody and makes them pass away. That is not what the Bible even is talking about when it says life and death is in the power of the tongue, right? That's not what it's talking about. You do have to have these conversations. Hold on, the chat, somebody said something. Chat, feel free. If you're in this call, feel free to use that chat. I will read it. Even then, there needs to be a will for who gets your kids. Look at that. And who will take care of them, or who can take care of them. The kids need to be insured as well. See that? And that's what I'm talking about. That is very, very true. If you have minor children, you start thinking about this. Not better. You start thinking about it. All right, I know proper grammar. All right, so that's a real thing. If you have minor children, right, and we never think about it like this. We think about, well, we have Jared and we have Susan. So if Jared passes away, Susan will take care of the kids. And if Susan passes away, Jared will take care of the kids. Well, what if Jared and Susan are in a car accident together? What if they're on a plane ride together? What if they're on a cruise and they fall overboard? What if they're on a fishing trip and Jaws gets them? All right, we're not talking about like, ways to 1,000 ways to die. But I'm just saying these things happen. You could be in a car going to the store while your kids are at school or something. You pass away from a car accident. Your kids come home from school on the bus. No one's there to let them in the house. What do? You made no arrangements for your children. Now put yourselves in their shoes. Would you want that to be you? Right? So he's exactly right. You have to even talk about that. So that leads me into, let's go over the first real thing, right? A will. What is a will? What did I just do? Why did I do that? I wanted to go over life insurance, but I thought I had this pulled up already. And I probably did. I probably X'd it out or something. All right. So a will is a legal document that specifies your wishes for distributing your property and caring for your dependents after your death. So caring for your dependents, it's right in there, right? It allows you to name an executor to manage your estate. That is a person who is going to be the spokesman for what your will says and carrying out the wishes of your will. Designate a guardian for your minor children and assure your assets are transferred according to your instructions. A valid will must typically be in writing, signed by you, and witnessed by others according to state laws. And that's one thing that I was going to hit on. And I know Ramza would have if I missed it. Each state is different for what they will or won't will. But see, you missed a good point to hit that sound. The what am I trying to say? Sound bar, whatever it is. Soundboard. There you go. Each state has different rules and regulations to what this looks like. Some states require it to be in writing. Some states say it can be typed. Some states say that if it's typed and or written, it can be typed and or written. You need two witnesses that are not beneficiaries, which is like Texas. So let's scroll down here. I think these are kind of simple, Simon. Without a will, your estate is subject. All right, now this is what I wanted to talk about. Without a will, your estate is subject to state laws of intestacy. Okay. I would say probate, but which will not distribute your property as you have wished. So, without a will, all of your things, first of all, no one will speak on behalf of what you wanted to happen. So that makes no sense. You know why I type like this? So simple, Simon. I'm a very meticulous kind of guy. I wouldn't normally, without a will, what happens? I would normally put procedures for when a person is deceased without a will, right? But I want y'all to understand just how hillbilly you could type into Google and get the answer. So if you watch me and you're like, oh, I could never type like that, and that's why he gets this information. No. Let me show you just how you could type things into Google and pull this information up. And I need you to understand it because you don't have to articulate to Google like a lawyer Just put it in layman's terms. It'll figure out what you're saying. All of this information is Googleable. It's not a word. I know it, but it needs to be. All right. Now, interstate. No. What does that say? Intestate? I don't like that. Intestines. Chitlins. Intestine succession laws. Each state has specific laws that dictate how an estate is to be divided when there is no will. Do not leave it up to the state to do it because they do not have your family's best interest in mind. And keep in mind that there are fees associated with it, taxes and etc. if the state has to do it on your behalf. See, part of our responsibilities as adults, part of our adulting is that we also do this. And at no point in time should the state be involved in your business. And I mean, like, if this was a perfect world, I'm not looking to crash out and get canceled out. But I'm saying, okay, how can I put this? Have a job, have 2 or 3 if you need to support your family. If you need the state to come in, they will help you subsidize your lifestyle with SNAP benefits, but they have requirements for that, right? And they just shut off, this is news, right? They just shut off benefits starting today, I think, for millions of people, right? So they're requiring people to work at least 40 hours a week or whatever, something like that, right? I'm not too spun up on it, but just get what I'm saying. The state has requirements for that if you're going to be on that, right? But they'd rather you do it yourself and support yourself. If you get divorced, right? You're adults. Agree on things, get divorced, agree to parent the children fairly, and they don't have to get involved. There doesn't need to be lawyers. There doesn't need to be a judge. There doesn't need to be support. You guys figure it all out. We rather not be in your business. But when you can't, now they have to get involved, and they don't do it to your best interest. They do it to, like California says, the right of the child state. So sometimes they enforce things that neither one of you even wanted. And 3, I had a good one. I guess he's right. I might be getting old. But yeah, I guess we'll just talk about probate because they will come in and they will do it. But it's not going to be in your family's best. Shut it. He told y'all. Okay, what did you say in English? That's how you put, or shut up. This guy. I tell you. Everyone should also have an AHCD, Advanced Healthcare Directive, and the person in charge of it should have a copy of it on them. Okay, see, now, this is why my chat is undefeated. I don't know about anybody else's chat, but mine is undefeated. We're going to figure out what this is. Advanced Health. All right, she just said that. Let me see. Kaiser. What is this? No, I don't want the form. Okay, well, let's just go with the AI overview. It's right here. Thank you for that. We're going to cover this too. So if I'm jumping around a little bit, just forgive me. It has been a very tumultuous 2 weeks. And I'm here, but having the time to completely structure this the way I wanted to, I didn't. But you know what? We're here and the show must go on. So a California Advanced Health Care Directive allows a competent adult to appoint a healthcare agent or to specify their wishes for medical treatment if they become unable to or communicate their own decisions. You're exactly right. Okay, so this comes into play too. And again, I'm telling you, this all starts with vision, right? And it all starts from a conversation with your family. All it takes is to get on the Google, the goo of the goal, and it will tell you like the different steps you need. You can go to Fidelity, you can go to Investopedia, you can just Google it, and the AI will tell you. It'll pull it from all these different sites and mesh it together right here. Yes, we always romanticize everything here in America in 2025. Everything is romanticized. I mean, even death. Man, you're this old grandpa, and you're just laying down and you're just tired, and here's your wife holding your hand on your right, your kids are on the left, the grandkids are at the foot of the bed, all these aunties and uncles are around, and they're just waiting for you to give all your blessings to them, and say all the sweet nothings, and yes, I'm gonna leave this to you, and we just romanticize everything on shows, TV, social media. We romanticize everything. And because we do that, when real life happens, we are unable to deal with it. We are unable to understand, oh shoot, you can die in a car wreck. Well, that takes the romanticized thing off the table. You can fall off of a balcony and pass away. Oh, that takes the romanticized thing off the table. You can be 187, right? It happens every day. And I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, but I am being real. That romanticized idea of passing away at 70, 80, 90, 100. There was a lady I saw on TV that was just 106. Indiana Jones just hit 100 years old this year. Jimmy Carter just passed away at 100 years old this year. I think a couple years ago, Betty White was 99. I think she was a couple days from her birthday. Not everybody makes it to those ages. That's why it's such big news, right? And so when you think about it, you could go in your sleep. You could go in your sleep. You could have a sudden heart attack. Anything could happen, right? So we have to stop romanticizing this stuff. Some of this stuff, it's just hard topics, and you have to have them, these conversations. That's it, right? So this, for my mom, this actually became a thing because before she passed, she was unable to communicate anymore. So yes, you're exactly right. My chat is undefeated. I don't know about y'all's chat, but my chat is undefeated. All right. So we need to talk. We talked about what is a will. See, I have to organize all the tabs because once I went over them, I know I go to this one. Now I go to this. I'm just like that. Call it OCD. But now we know why we need a will, right? The will says what your will is when you are no longer here, what you want to happen, the steps at which you want it to happen, who is going to speak on behalf of your will. And then we found out about this advanced health care directive, right? Is that what you said it was in the chat? Advanced health care directive. Yes. Okay. Good to go. All right. Sorry, I am parched. Okay. Moving right along. Yep. Life insurance. That's the next thing that we're going to have. I saw that. Let me go over this real quick in the chat. Yes, it's different for every state. FYI. Okay. So because I pulled California, and I think it's because it knows my location is California. Freaking computers. I tell you, iRobot is real. No, I have my location turned on, obviously. But yes, just like wills, probate and how they handle probate is different in every state. Some of these things we're going to talk about are different in every state. For all you Californians, I'm coming for that license and I'll be your life insurance agent. Okay, fair enough. We got somebody signed up to help you out. Now we're going to talk about life insurance, and I'm going to be brief on this. because we have a lot of other things to get to when it comes to estate planning. And I think we took enough time getting to it. But here we go. Life insurance. What is it? Well, I like definitions, but let's see if it gives us one. Okay, I'll just tell you what it is. Screw it. All right, listen. Life insurance is insuring your life. Enough said. What is car insurance? It insures your car against collision or any kind of damage. Life insurance insures your life. So if you expire, you get this much money, right? And it's just that simple. And I will say this. It's one of the most simplistic ways to at least cover your own funeral expenses. If you figure you could Google it. I could do it right here. Let me just do it. I don't know why I put expense. I meant cost, but whatever. Look at that. The average cost for a traditional funeral with a burial is approximately $8,300. For a funeral with cremation, it's $6,280. So now let's slide to the left. I think I was right here, right? No, types of life insurance. Yeah, I'm going to put it ahead of it because I'm still on this one. All right, so look, all you would need is $9,000 worth of life insurance to cover your funeral costs on average. Now, that's for you to be embalmed, to have a suit and a casket and be buried, right? But what about Nene, TT, CC, BB, and them to come out from Georgia, Mississippi, Washington State, DC? What if they don't have plane tickets? Something to think about, right? If they wanted to attend the funeral, because if they want to attend the funeral, guess who's probably going to have to help them out with those costs? Whomever is left behind, right? So think about that before you insure yourself. Yes, your life has value, but your death also does. This is a different topic, but that ain't for a gold casket. What's wrong with you, man? That ain't for a gold casket, wake, sleep, the second wake, the nice dress she wanted to wear in her will. Yes. You're going to need more money than that is what he's getting at, right? So I know this isn't like a laughing topic, right? Especially since I started this saying that my mother passed away. But listen, these are the hard conversations we need to have. And we don't always need to have long faces when we have these topics. If it's always gloomy, no one's going to want to talk about it, right? Throw a joke in there, laugh. We're all talking. We're all alive right now, but we're planning for the end. We're not dead yet, but insure your life. Now, this is a different topic, and I talked about this when I went over life insurance specifically. I actually did a deep dive into these life insurances and broke them down. So if you're not familiar with them, just look through my videos in that playlist and start from the bottom up, and you'll see it. I covered the difference between them, but betwixt them. But here's the thing, right? You need life insurance, and you need to think about it like this. Cover my death arrangements, funeral, burial, all of that, the wake, the second wake, all of that. Future earnings, right? Because you must think, like, if you're a dude, let's just say if you're a dude and your wife is a homemaker, she doesn't have a degree. How long would it take for her to get a degree or to get a hard skill where she can earn to support the family like you were doing or any semblance of what you were doing? And however long that might take is how many years worth of future earnings you might want to have in your life insurance policy. You get what I'm saying? So if it's going to take her 4 years to go to school, you need it to have at least 4 years worth of future earnings worth of a life insurance policy. So if you earn $100,000 a year, you need $400,000 worth of life insurance. Think about if you owe on your house. This is going to look different for everybody. And this is what I'm saying. Consider this stuff. If you own a house, how much is left on your house? Will your life insurance policy cover your house? Does it need to? Does your wife also earn? Are you single, but you have children? Are you single without children? All of this stuff matters, but cover your life with a pot of money. And then the last thing I would say consider is if you wanted to leave behind something after all your debt is wiped out. If you wanted to leave something to your grandchildren, something that they can put into a pot to invest, if you want to leave something behind, you need even more life insurance, right? And start young. The earlier you start, the healthier you are, the cheaper the premiums are, okay? We're not going to get into which one is better. I covered that already. I can cover that again. Now, the next step, better than a will, is a trust. So revocable and irrevocable are your two. I also deep dove into this one. We're just going to hit the main parts about this, right? Have a trust for your family. You know, back in the medieval times, each family, especially if they were of noble birth or whatever, they had a crest. So they had like a flag with like a lion with fire spitting out of the mouth, or like a serpent with the tongue flicking, and the tongue meant something. The serpent meant something. The snake itself meant something. The way it was positioned meant something. Well, the way it's coiled, the muscles are tightly bound. It means that we're ready to strike if struck at any point in time. Like, and you know, in the Navy, we do this too. The Navy, each ship has a crest, and it'll have like a banner. It'll have a certain amount of stars or a shield on it, and everything on that crest means something. And to get your warfare device, surface, air, whatever, you have to know what that means, right? And so every family used to already have some semblance of what the family name means. Well, put that in writing and make it more financial. Get yourself a trust. So a revocable trust allows you to keep control over your assets and make changes at any time, offers no asset protection, and the assets are still part of your estate. So basically, this one doesn't have tax benefits. You can still be taxed on whatever in this trust. The irrevocable trust, you can't, because you no longer have control over it. It's given over to like a firm, right? So the best thing to do is have a revocable trust that you can keep going in and changing the verbiage in. It's like a will, but better. Because you can actually have wording in there to say, little Annie, my niece, she's 12. If at age 19, now you need to already have done the math when she's going to graduate for what I'm going to say. But if when she is 19, she has completed at least one semester of college with at least a 3.0 GPA, she can have $10,000 to help with college expenses. You can actually write that out in your trust. You could say at 24 years old, if Jeremy is married and have finished college with at least a bachelor's degree, he can have $30,000. Now, some people will say, well, that's controlling their life, isn't it? You're not controlling their life. They don't have to have your money. It's your money, right? So they don't have to be married if they don't want to. It's not the only way that, obviously, if you're going to put something in the trust, these are things you would have talked to your family about anyway. You would have told them the importance of marriage. You'd have been raising your children with marriage on the brain, so you would then expect them to be married by that age. I don't know. I'm just giving examples, right? But make it realistic, because you could also price them out of the market if the requirements are too high for what you've raised them like, right? So a trust will speak on your behalf when you're no longer here. I sat next to a gentleman on the plane when I flew back into, I was flying from, where was I? Denver to Ontario. No, San Antonio to Denver. And he said he had a revocable trust, and the moment he died, it became irrevocable, and it went to a firm to divvy out, and it has tax benefits to it as well. So you can literally name out people and say who gets what, when, if this, then that. I think enough said with that. We need trust. Other than just wills, we need trust as well. Chat at any point in time, y'all already know. Go ahead and step in if you want to say something. Now, we talked about wills. We talked about guardians for the children. I'm just gonna hit a lot of these things very quickly because there's a lot of moving pieces to what you're gonna need. You want to ensure they are also developing character and discipline necessary to not blow the inheritance. Yes. Okay, let's talk about that. All right. There's a lot of old money in certain places in America, right? I know I had a lot of Jewish friends, and they had families back in New York before I joined the Navy. And I'm going to tell you, old money could be Jewish, it could be African, it could be Russian. It doesn't matter. It means legacy money, right? And there's this episode, and I'll post it again in the Discord. It's on Earn Your Leisure's network. Earn Your Leisure is like an umbrella, right? And they had different shows underneath their umbrella. And some of those shows aren't going anymore, but they had this guy, Ash Cash. He had this show called The Vault. And he was interviewing this guy named Storm Leroy. Storm Leroy is also known as one of the two. There are two, just Jamal King and Storm Leroy, that are known as 9 to 5 millionaires. Storm Leroy talked about how the Rockefellers did this thing, right? He talked about how, like, when the Rockefellers passed away, they had trust, and they would not allow their children or their grandchildren to drain the pool. And this is how they did it. He said, say I passed away and I had 5 properties. I said, I want all of them. I want 2 of them given to each child. So 1 and 1. So those other 3, liquidate them, take that money, put it in the trust, lock it up in like, what do you say, index funds or something that's going to get me 10% a year for 50 years or so, right? And when they open it up, let's say it's like 1.2 million. So I say at that point, the family can take $500,000, but they have to lock down the other 700,000 for another 50 years. And he said, with a certain amount of interest, I'm screwing the numbers up, but just get me. So with a certain amount of interest over those 50 years, I'm gonna just use 10% because that's the stock market average, right? So now you open that up, and now that's like 1.7 million. They can have $500,000. Now lock up to 1.2. Now when they open it up, it's 2.2 million. They can have, you get what I'm saying? Lock down to 1.7. Now it's 3.4. You see what I'm saying? So like they can never drain the money. They can never drain the money because they're never touching the principal amount of money. They're only taking from the gains, right? They're never touching the principal really. And so you can do that. So that was very insightful. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to post that into, I'll do it probably after I upload the video or while the video's processing, uploading to YouTube, making the thumbnails and stuff. I'll try and find that and put that in Discord. Okay. I think we talked about this. That health thing was very good. That was very good. Somebody may have to make decisions on your part. So I have a good friend. She had a sister that was killed by a drunk driver. Her and her husband were next to each other on motorcycles. And the husband got broken up really bad and the sister got killed. But imagine she lived, right? And imagine situations where somebody gets into a bad car wreck. Let's take her out of it. Imagine a situation where somebody gets in a bad car wreck and now they're like a paraplegic or something. They're paralyzed or something. that is very insightful because somebody does have to make the decisions on your behalf. And these are things we never think about. Guardians for your children, beneficiaries, who's going to inherit what. Now, when we talk about beneficiaries, let's talk about this in layman's terms, okay? I have a house. This is where my studio is, right? Okay, yes, the house is one thing, but my house is not paid off. So who's going to inherit that? It's not an inheritance. You're taking on some debt. So now there's a TV back there. Who's getting that? You can itemize, but in the long run, you have to really think about it. What does your estate look like? What all do you have in it? How many children do you have? How many brothers and sisters do you have? How many people who would be interested in having what you have if you are no longer here? Obviously, if you have kids, you would think it would just fall to them. But this is where the probate court comes in, because your auntie could fight the children for what is in your house, because you didn't say it all goes to my kids. You didn't say it all goes to my spouse. This is where probate comes in. And I'm going to go over that too, but I want to hit some of the rest of these. Now, it says trust is optional. I don't think so. I don't think a trust is optional. We have to stop saying that. Because look, if you can use it to manage assets, avoid probate, ding, 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 and reduce estate tax, especially for larger and complex estates, why would that be optional? Who wouldn't want to avoid probate court? And maybe we're not so familiar with what probate court is, but look, none of this other stuff says it's optional. This says do the will and testament. Trust is better. Trust me. Where's the drum? See, you missed it. See, I can't even trust you with the soundboard, man. I tell you, some people's kids, some people's brothers. All right, so review and update beneficiaries. So here's one thing that happens in the military all the time. If somebody gets divorced and they don't change their beneficiary and then they pass away and they have already remarried, guess what? The beneficiary is the old wife or the old husband, right? So you always have, look, I think my brother said he reviews this annually. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. He said he reviews this annually with his family. He's got small kids, right? So yeah, because if your grandparents bought that home in the 50s for $50K, but now it's worth $500,000 and it's not transferred or in a trust already, then your inheritors need to be able to pay the transfer tax to even own the home. Yep. Else, hello probate and hello auction block. That is correct. That is correct. And see, these are things we won't know until, I'm telling you, until it's looking you in the face and you're like, oh, shoot, we didn't know this. This is too much knowledge out here. Look, this is not the 40s. And I mean the actual 40s, like Jesus just died, 40s. This isn't the 40s where the Romans Empire is still the top, and Socrates and Plato are walking around and they're sailing all the way to Romania because there's one scroll that has all this knowledge in this library of theology and whatever. And you get what I'm saying. It's at your fingertips. Y'all are seeing me type it in real time. I don't use home row keys. I'm more of a peck, 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 peck kind of guy. But I refused to learn it in keyboarding class. I was just the hard head that was like, I can type much faster than this. And then it worked for a little while and then people passed me up. But anyway, the knowledge is not on one scroll, on one book, and you have to travel for 2 or 3 or 6 months to get to it. It's at your fingertips. And that's what I'm saying. We all have these flat screen TVs that are supercomputers. And in 2 seconds, you can have any piece of information you want. But what do we use them for? Giggling and laughing, memes and scrolling. Our thumbs get all the work like this, just scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. And we go in the 45-degree neck tilt and drool. Cue the drool. We have to start using it for more than that. All right. So End of life arrangements, memorial service. We already talked about this, right? But this is good because we do need to talk about this, right? How, if you were to pass away, granddad, how do you want to be sent out? What do you mean? Do you want to be buried or cremated? I don't want to be burned. So you want to be buried? Yes. Yes. Okay. Do you want to be buried in this state? Do you want to be buried somewhere else? I never thought about it. Well, think about it. This is why we're having a conversation, because these things come up. Some families have a family plot on some land that they want to be buried in. But if they never said that, then guess what? You go in the ground wherever we figure it out, right? And if you left too much debt, you might want to be buried, and we might not have that $8,200. You might be singed, right? And it's cheaper, right? And so I'm not even trying to be funny, but maybe I shouldn't have said it like that then. I don't know. I thought it was it made me giggle inside. Or any major life change, we review finances to ensure we can afford our debt. Okay, yeah. Yes, we review finances typically twice a year. So even better. Even better. Every time you're getting your teeth cleaned, you're reviewing this. Do you get your teeth cleaned twice a year? Okay. Do you have to pay a lawyer to have a trust? No, you are not legally required to pay a lawyer to have a trust, and you can use a do-it-yourself online service. Oh, so riddle me this. Did you ask me that question, but I didn't get to it in enough time and you looked it up yourself? That's what it looks like. Which will go more to my point. Correct. Okay. Which will go more to my point that people can look this up, right? And I was going to say that. So the guy that I spoke to on the plane ride, I'm going to read the rest of your message, but he said that he started to trust himself, right? It doesn't take that much to start the trust yourself. You can do it. And then he ended up handed it over to, and you know what? Since I didn't even get his name, and I'm morally remiss that I didn't get his name, but I'm going to share. What is the company? He said, Anderson Advisors. Anderson Advisors. He said they're really good, and they have like free courses you can take and stuff like that. Like, I actually took notes sitting there on the plane with this guy, and I think he said he was 67-ish. And at the end of it all, we spoke the entire plane ride. I was very shocked because he actually said he enjoyed the plane ride a lot, and he learned a lot from me. And I started laughing. He said, what? And I said, you're my senior. I learned a lot from you. I'm the one taking notes. And he said, no, I took notes. And he said, your podcast you have, keep doing that, because I wish there was something like that when I was younger. But, he had his dad, and his dad taught him. But he said he realizes the need for the knowledge. And he said, you keep doing that and doing what you're doing, because you're fulfilling a need out there, and you're really helping people from the sound of it. And he said the pleasure was all his. He learned a lot. And so that was a really humbling thing for me. But let me get to the rest of this. However, a lawyer is recommended for complex estates, as they can ensure trust is valid, properly structured, and avoids costly mistakes or unintended consequences. For simple estates, an online tool may be sufficient, but having an attorney review the document is a good compromise. Yeah. So at the end of it all, you want an attorney to actually look at it, but you can do it yourself and save yourselves the cost of having them draft everything up. Also, with it was something you said. Let me just pull your comment back up. It was something complex estates. So yes, look, the guy next to me on the plane, they have 65 properties. That stop right there. I don't care what's in the bank accounts. I don't care what's in the IRA. Stop right there. That's a complex estate. If you had they have 6 children and 23 grandkids. All right? This is not made up numbers. Real talk, right? That's a complex estate. They own a certain amount of trailer parks, the actual land, and do lot rents on it. They have rental properties everywhere. They have an S corp, a C corp, and an LLC, multiple. They have look. That's a complex estate. I can't speak. Complex estate. I can articulate, so I will not degrade. No, I'm just playing. All right. You want lawyers for that, right? But the average person, you won't have a complex. I did it again. You won't have a complex estate. You may have one house on average. You may have a car or two. You may have some money in the bank. Show them what you drink. You may have an IRA and some debts. Look, it's not that hard to do it yourself online. If you're not confident in that, then get a lawyer. But again, the lawyer is going to cost. But if you want to make sure it's done right, which you always should, do it yourself and have a lawyer review it and make suggestions. Don't have the lawyer do it. Have them review it and make suggestions, less costly. All right. Y'all throw anything else in here that you think might be relevant. But I think his plan of reviewing it twice a year was very insightful. I think it shouldn't be annually. I think it should be twice a year. And then this one right here about, oh, you played it, but it didn't sound off. Is that what you're saying? What is all of this? What am I supposed to get from this? Did you play the drum beat or something and it didn't sound off? Oh, you said throw some things in. I'm going to. Do you ever want to just get a running start and just jump as high as you can and drop kick somebody in the next week? I tell you, some people's kinfolk. Okay. Your estate plan is not a one-time task. Yeah, it even tells you to review things. And then look, major life events such as marriage, divorce, a new child, a significant change in assets or in tax laws, right? So all of that stuff makes sense. Also, a death in the family, right? Now, this sucks too. Let's say one of your children pass away. They now need to be removed from this. See what I'm saying? Major life events. Grandpa passed away. Or, well, if he was in you get what I'm saying. Major life events, a divorce. We talked about that, right? But a marriage as well. A new child. Now you have to split it another way, right? So what did you put in here? It said image. Did you remove it? When my daughter was born this year, I had to change my investment planning to ensure I'm earning money in my stocks and investments and added her to my life insurance policy. There you go. There you go. And listen, I was told this a long time ago. I'm going to get to the comment that just popped in, but so I don't read it while I'm talking and confuse myself and then have to admit that I'm getting old, I'm going to close it for now. I was told this a long time ago. Your life insurance policy is not just to cover burial expenses. It's also supposed to cover future earnings. So if you're earning $100,000 a year, the number I heard was like at least 5 years of future earnings. Well, my military life insurance policy is $500,000, right? So that would do that if that's what I was earning. But could you get more life insurance? Is there a such thing as too much life insurance? I don't think so. And then here's the other thing too. You're covering 5 years worth of future earnings. What if you have debt half of that much? So once you pass away, we bury you and we're done with all of that. and you have half of that life insurance in debt, now we have to pay that off. Guess what? Now you only have a year and a half worth of future earnings. That's why you plan. That's why this is called estate planning. All right. Does it cost money to put a house in a trust? Yes, putting a house in a trust costs money, with upfront costs ranging from a few $100s for online services to several $1,000s for a lawyer, typically between $1 and $3K for a basic living trust. Additional costs can include legal fees for drafting documents, recording fees to transfer the title, and potentially ongoing administrative or trustee fees. But if you don't put it in a trust now, the family will have to possibly pay more later in taxes. That's definitely true. And also, you could put a house in a trust, but if it's not, there's a difference between if you're still paying for it and if it's already paid off as well. Think about that too. Can you make your trust the beneficiary? Ooh, that's a good question, Sanchez. I don't know if I can answer that one right now. Hold on, let me read this last one. Oh, Curtis already looked it up. See, I said his real name. Absolutely, and make certain people agents of the trust who can execute the funds and decisions of the trust without being the owner of the trust. I think actually, you know what? The old guy was sitting next to, let me not say old because some of y'all might be near his age. He called himself old, first of all. The wise gentleman I sat next to on the plane, he did say that when he passes away, everything goes to the trust. So that would answer your question. Yes, you can absolutely have the beneficiary be in the trust. Everything goes to the trust, and then the trust, the agents, the attorneys, the Anderson guys that I talked about, they're the ones that are going to be the executors of the estate through the trust and divvy out what his will was, if that makes sense. So estate planning, kind of a sensitive topic, but absolutely a necessary topic. Have these discussions with your family. If you need a quick summary of it, get your family at the dinner table, at the lunch table, or call a meeting. Have a notebook, Marble. That's what I like. Have a notebook and say estate planning and scribble it all up. Have flow charts, do whatever, because when it's time to actually put it on paper, you will clean it up at that point. But make sure you say life insurance, go over that, and go over scenarios. Again, if you are married with children, go over scenarios where if he or she or we pass away, what happens? Go over all of that. Guardianship, beneficiaries, wills, trust, assets, debt. Make sure, especially if you've got teenagers or young adult children, make sure they know we have this much debt, right? We have this much life insurance. And then go over plan of action, because you can. You can say, if we were to pass away today, the two of you would have to know that this is the life insurance. You're the beneficiary of this policy and you're on this one. Our trust is saying that 100 grand from each would go into wiping out all of our debt. You would get this house. You get the one in Malibu. These are rich people. Maybe this might be a complex estate. I'm going to keep it simple. You'll take this car. You'll take that car. Why does he get that car? Does it really matter? Yes, it matters, because do you care which car you get? No. Okay, then you can have this car. Look, you can have these conversations, right? Because I'm going to tell you what happens sometimes. Nobody does anything. Nobody has any conversations about it. Nobody wants to touch the subject. And then when the end happens, now you have the siblings or the family members fighting over who wants what. Well, they would have wanted me to have this. Well, who can say? They didn't say. Well, I want this. Well, so do they. Well, I should get this. Why? Because I'm older. Well, I'm younger. I have more years to enjoy it. Seniority. So now you have a bunch of squabbling people. And now, and it sucks to say, but now it looks like you just had a bunch of people, a bunch of waiters in your family. What's a waiter? A waiter is somebody who was sitting there waiting for you to expire to get your stuff. You know what I mean? Do your fire drills. The estate owners need to have these discussions with the descendants well before the death. I agree. And that's what I'm saying. So like, okay, here's something. Do your fire drills. This made sense. It made me think of this. So I can't whirl the camera around. Or I could take it off the. No, I'm just gonna tell you. I have a 2-story house, right? So the same way in all the bedrooms except for one are upstairs, right? So the same way you would need to go over a fire escape plan with your children should there be a fire and they can't get down the stairs. Do you have a ladder rolled up outside their window that they can just undo the Velcro straps and then climb down? The same way you should be going over that 2 or 3 times a year is the same way you should be going over this. This should be no different than any other conversation. If you're Christian sitting down at the table talking about the Bible, if you're the same talk you want to have about education, right? And going to college, and you're going to be the doctor, you're going to be the lawyer, you're going to be a teacher, all of that kind of stuff. This should be no different. This should be embedded into those conversations. This should be regular dinner banter, right? Maybe not banter might not be the proper term, but this should be regular speak inside of a home where there's a bunch of people in there that say they love and care for each other. If you really care for and love the people that are in that home, then you need to take care of them even when you're gone. Even when you're gone. And you know what? Let's say you didn't leave them $10 million, because you absolutely could get a $10 million life insurance policy or multiple life insurance policies that add up to $10 million, by the way. But neither here nor there. Let's say you couldn't leave them that much. If you took care of your own burial and all of your debt, you left them no debt. Think about that. Do you want to leave, if you have children, I'm talking to parents, if you have children, or if you're an auntie, right? If you're an uncle and you're single, but those are like your kids, do you want to see them at any given time? Let's say nobody's dying right now. Do you want them better off or worse off? Do you want no college or college? Do you want no certifications, no soft skills? No. Do you want them at a job or a career? Do you want them better off than you or worse off than you? If you can say right now, without talking about death, you want them better off, then when we talk about death, you want them better off, right? And you want to see them in a better position than they are in now, than if you pass away. Imagine this. You could still see them, because we don't know. You could still see them, see their emotional state, see how they're doing and stuff after you pass. And you left a bunch of debt, and you left no management of anything, and they're in a worse state. Now they're swamped with bills from you. Or let's say you did leave money behind, but you didn't leave it to anybody. So now they're all arguing and squabbling over it, and you get to watch it all, eating spiritual popcorn from wherever you're watching it from. See, we wouldn't want that. So then do this, because this will save you from that. That's all I'm saying. Anybody got any last comments on this or anything they want me to drive home or talk about? Because I'm pretty much done with the topic. It was kind of all over the place. I wanted to touch on this again and actually have it more structured, but having the conversation in the first place is really the it's really the point. Have the conversation and put everything else on the table. Put everything on the table that needs to be talked about, because I'm telling you, where there's no knowledge, the people fall. That's biblical, right? Well, but your family is not more special than another one in the sense of, oh, my family wouldn't argue and fight over things so trivial. Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would. You have no idea. And you know what? The more you have, the actually worse it is. You think the less you have, the worse it is. The less you have, like, let's say people in a destitute area, or that's their life is more destitute. No one has much anyway. So yeah, somebody might scrap a fight over the one or two things you may have should you pass away. But now let's go to like Bill Gates. Let's go to the billionaires. Let's go to Jeff Bezos. Let's go to Elon Musk, who's having like 85 children by 100 women. Um, Neither here nor there. That's his business. I'm just saying he's got a lot of children, or going to have a lot of children that could be beneficiaries. You get what I'm getting at? I use him for a reason, right? There's billions and there's millions of kids. Now, there's a lot of kids, but you get what I'm saying? And then their mothers, right? So now if he doesn't do this, oh, that'll be the battle of the century. That'll be the battle of the century. It needs to be in writing, and yes, notarized and witnessed. You can wind up with family members not talking to each other. Yes, instead of coming together after a death, folks need to know where those documents are as well. Yes. Okay. Talk about that. They need to know where all the important documents of the household are kept. If it's a law firm or some kind of fidelity, some kind of financial firm or something like that. If they're in a safe in your house, should be a fireproof safe. And even some of those safes that say fireproof are up to a certain temperature. So think about that. Some of them ain't, and they've been found out that they ain't. And then some of them are up to a certain temperature, but wherever they are, everybody needs to know where they are. And if you're not going to give the children the code to the safe, they need to know where to acquire the code to the safe in the event that both of you pass away at the same time. Because there's that guy who had that hard drive that had that crypto on it, that Bitcoin on it, and he would have been like 100 millionaire, or 100 millionaire at least. And I thought it was that he couldn't find the password to his, that's what I was told for years. He couldn't find the password to his hard drive for years. So that crypto is locked up in there, and for sure he had it and people knew he had it. But what good is it without the password? Now you can eventually crack a safe, but if you call a locksmith, are they authorized to go into that safe? Because who says that you're the owner of that safe? Where are the documents? Inside the safe. So now, can I even legally go in here? Hey, where's the proof that you bought it? Where's the proof that it's yours? It's in your house, but how do I know you didn't steal it? See what I'm saying? We have to think about this stuff, have the conversations. Can't be scrambling to find the plans. You're exactly right. Fire drill equivalent would help. We can manage a game plan with steps for next week. Honestly, ChatGPT can put this together in a matter of minutes, and then once you give it to your state, it can even, once you give it the state you're in, I'm guessing you're saying it can tailor even further, take it to an attorney review, and then sign, notarize, and distribute primary and secondary executives. All right, folks. I guess that's it for this week. Thank you for joining me. If you weren't on in the beginning, don't even worry about it. I am going to upload this to YouTube. It'll have a thumbnail on it with me like, no, I'm not. I'm just kidding. I don't know what the thumbnail is going to be, but I'm going to upload it to YouTube within the hour and you'll be able to view the whole thing there. Here's all I ask. If this information is information that you think you like, you enjoy, you benefit from, hopefully this is not your entertainment hour on Saturdays at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, the only standard time that is worth talking about at 10. I'm just kidding. Totally undefeated group. I see that. I need you, when it comes on YouTube, like it so the algorithm will, so it'll get pushed in the algorithm, but also, and here's the biggest one, share it. Share the video to somebody you know will watch it and care, and then invite them to the group. It doesn't have to be me. Invite them to Discord. We're all learning together. Do you see how while I was on here talking about some stuff, the chat was looking it up? That's what we can do. And now it's part of the video, right? It's part, and what they added to the video was key. Like, yeah, I might have built most of the sundae. They had whipped cream and cherries. Who wants a sundae without whipped cream and cherries on top, right? So invite people, bring them. Let's build this community that we want to see. Let's do that, and let's support one another. And if you have questions throughout the week on what more on wills, powers of attorney, trust and stuff, post those in the group. Or if you find out something else, post that throughout the week. That Discord is a community. That means you wake it up at any given time, post stuff in. Now, obviously, if it's midnight, okay, maybe not then, but, and I don't think like a text message, you can schedule it to drop, but like during the day, if you find something out, go ahead and post that stuff or hold on to it until the next day. Guilty as charged. Yeah, I've done it too. So I try not to. And I try not to like spam it, during the times I know people are asleep, but post good information in there because we are only as good as we use that group. All right. I am signing off. The Forge is going cold. I will see y'all here next Saturday at 10 Pacific Standard Time. And I hope you have a great week. I had to get this comment up on the screen. Yeah, that is awesome. Totally undefeated group. And I'm going to tell you, you don't see a lot of people here on the live right now, but I'm going to tell you during the week, there's a lot of comments dropped during the week. Also, I want to also talk about, and I'll probably make some long form content with like Clip Champ or something during the week. Like that shirt? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now I can't, I don't know if y'all can even see it. Let me do a squat real quick. That's me on the back. No, I'm just kidding. It's AI. But no, thank you. Also, I was going to say a lot more people during the week, they participate in it, but they may not catch the live. They'll watch it on the YouTube replay. Actually, it's Ramza's wife that's making the shirts for me. So I appreciate her as well. Tell her I said what up. For the life insurance, I have a person at New York Life. For North Carolina and Georgia residents. Okay, good to go. Good to know. See that? And that's what I'm talking about. Community, networking. All right. Let's make these the last ones. I got to get this video up here. I know. I shouldn't have had that on the camera. But I did. I know. Yeah. No, don't get him. What are you talking? Whose side? We all in this together. Yes, they are being prepared now, actually. And I actually have some new ones coming out. So I say that perpetual entertainment, people with the 45-degree neck tilt and social media, perpetual entertainment is the end of a man CMD. creativity, motivation, and drive. I just have the C, the big C, big M, big D on like in a line, and then it's creativity, motivation, and drive on the shirt. And then there's another one. What do you do with your 62? So that's going to be on the shirt too, but it is his wife that's actually making them, and she does fantastic with it. So I know it'll be here. And he mentioned getting your shirt made when I was on the phone with her about it. So it's coming. Just believe me, the family has been dealing with recently. I know you're supposed to get your shirt a long time ago, so that's not an excuse. So yeah, it's all love. All right. I will see y'all. I'm signing off. Y'all have a good weekend.